Mr. Yip Hon Wing.
Mr. Speaker, last month I shared with this House that the Energy Market Authority, EMA, has extended the TRAC scheme, or the Temporary Electricity Contracting Support Scheme, from March till May 2022. Thus far, participating generation companies and retailers have been providing sufficient TRACs as well as retail contracts with significant fixed price components to meet demand on a voluntary basis. To ensure that the electricity retailers do not impose unfair contractual terms on consumers under TRACs, EMA has also worked directly with retailers to ensure that the contractual terms, such as prices and security deposit requirements, are reasonably set. All electricity retailers must comply with a code of conduct for retail electricity licensees, or the code, called the code. EMA will not hesitate to investigate and take action against any non-compliance with the code. TRACs, for record, they are 1-month contracts. Now, for consumers who want greater certainty, we are also working with generation companies and electricity retailers to offer longer-term fixed-price contracts to consumers who wish to have more price stability. For example, retailers such as Keppel Electric and Sembcorp Power are currently offering longer-term electricity contracts ranging from 6 months to 3 years. Eligible consumers without a retail plan may wish to consider such contracts for greater price certainty. I would like to assure this House that we are monitoring the energy situation very carefully, and we are prepared to put in place further support measures, including extending TRACs should there be a need to do so. Thank you.
Mr. Yip Hon Wing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Minister for his reply. I would like to ask the Ministry to clarify whether there's a limit to the amount that GENCOs can draw on EMA standby fuel facilities for TRACs, and 2, are GENCOs entitled to draw on EMA standby fuel facilities if they are not participating in TRACs? Thank you.
I thank Mr. Yip for his supplementary question. There's no limit to the amount that can be drawn down for TRACs. And if their own supplies, their own gas supplies are disrupted, generation companies can also draw on the SLF, and they have been doing so. Thank you.
Mr. Gerald Giam.
So one business in my constituency recently sought my help, and they informed me that they were unable to sign up for TRACs contracts in March, despite applying on the 15th of February, which is the day that the contracting window opened. And so they told me that it was fully subscribed that very day. So can I confirm with the Minister, was TRACs fully subscribed for the month of February? And if so, how many businesses had to be turned away? And are there plans to increase capacity for TRACs in the months of April and May, given the oversubscription in the month of March? And lastly, taking into account the current global situation and the oversubscribed TRACs, what measures has EMA planned to enhance Singapore's energy security and stabilize Singapore's wholesale electricity market? Thank you.
I thank Mr. Giam for his 3 supplementary questions. I think first, perhaps if he could get a resident, either or perhaps Mr. Giam himself can write to me. I am happy to investigate further. But earlier on, I did share in this House that there were 200 megawatts available of contracts for TRACs for February. Now, as of 28 February 2022, there were at least 300 megawatt of contracts that were still available. So, I mean, for his resident who couldn't get access to the contract as far as TREX itself is concerned, I think there's a bit of a mismatch. Now, moving forward, we monitor it on a very tight basis, and not only do we ensure that we have sufficient capacity as far as TREX itself is concerned for the month of March, April, and May. EMA has also been negotiating with other GenCos to provide for longer fixed price contracts on a longer term basis, between 6 months to 3 years, as I've shared in my earlier PQ reply to Mr. Yip Hon Wing. And it can, and two of them, I think one of them is Capo Electric, and the other one is Semcor Power. Now, moving forward, I think in terms of ensuring our energy supplies and our energy security, in fact, the fact is that there are further plans that are afoot. I think at this particular point in time, I'm not ready to share these plans as yet, but in terms of looking at our standby facilities, in terms of negotiations with imports and so on, certainly our entire team is on it. To the extent to which we can share, so long as it doesn't compromise our ability to negotiate these contractual terms itself, at this point in time, I think it suffices for me to say that the entire energy team is working on a whole slew of measures to ensure that we do not get any disruption in our energy supplies. Thank you.
Mr. Yip Hon Wing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just have a very short SQ. Would the ministry consider making participation in TREX mandatory for all GenCos? Thank you.
I thank Mr. Yip for his suggestion, but I think as the name itself sort of represents, it's a temporary situation. It's a temporary retail electricity contract scheme. So we have made it voluntary because I think the nature of the generation of electrons is that if you require them to generate the electrons itself, if there are excess electrons, it gets wasted. So I think that pairing itself is quite important. And you have, on the one hand, companies who want to have some form of stability, but they are also concerned about the high prices. So TREX is a short-term measure. I think what we need is a further longer-term measure, which EMA has also worked on pari passu in terms of supporting. And hence, I think we are actually quite comforted by the fact that two other GenCos, Gen retailers, have stepped forth to offer longer-term fixed-price contracts ranging from 6 months to 3 years to offer some form of price certainty. I think the challenge is that today, TREX offer the flexibility of a 1-month contract, which allows company to sort of hedge for that 1 month. Because the prices are quite high today, if they lock themselves in for long term, and if the price should ease off after that, then it would be very difficult for them to justify that increased cost moving forward. So I think that given the volatility that the current situation the whole world is in today, with a lot of fluctuations happening, I think this is a more nuanced approach because it allows responsiveness and the ability to very nimbly work in terms of managing their costs, at least from a month-to-month basis, and to take proactive steps when the stability starts to return to the market. Thank you.